What's going on, muln fans? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry, I had a couple afternoon appointments. I know I'm pretty regular about posting at the same time, and I apologize that this one's coming out late. So let's look into it. I have a few things that I really want to bring your attention to. I think it's going to be important for you to be watching as far as your charts go, and we will talk about it. But hey, you know what? We had a goal, at least as far as this channel goes, as far as my goal went, to see 33 cents kind of break today and hopefully create some sort of base. We saw some pretty strong volume coming in here at the end of the day whenever we were kind of working our way a little bit beyond 33 cents even. So I think there's a strong possibility that the shorts are really trying to protect that 34-35 cent range, and then obviously 40 cents whenever we got halted. What better time to come in and hammer down on your shorts than whenever there's a halt going on and you got time to think about it and what you want to do. So I think that area is going to be protected pretty well. So what I want to see, let's throw out a few key areas. 33 cents, I want to see that hold as a base. Now I think 35 cents might be a little difficult to get through the very first time, especially if shorts are protecting it hard. So keep that in mind. There might be a couple tests if we can get through there. We're going to watch and see what happens as we approach that area. But I also want you guys, because a lot of you guys are green. Like, I mean, some of the longer term investors are probably not green as of yet, but some of you guys are. So keep an eye on it. Like I said, just because you exit a trade doesn't mean you can't re-enter whenever you see strength come back in. Be watching 33 cents very closely. The second leg down, I want to be watching around 31 and a half, very close. We've had some good support there, but it doesn't mean that it has to hold up. And then ultimately 28 cents. At that point, you're 5 cents down from where we are currently sitting, which is pretty big whenever we're talking about a penny stock, and every penny matters. So keep that in mind. As we're working our way up, obviously 33 to 35 is going to be our next channel. And then from there, I want to see how we respond. Now, what I want to bring to your attention as well is we did consolidate through our trend line that we were keeping pretty well. Kind of came down, took a little bit of a breather, pushed its way back up today, which is nice to see. But what did it ultimately form is a rising wedge. Now, you know statistically what way rising wedges generally break. It doesn't have to break that way, but generally they do break to the downside. Where does the peak come out? The peak comes out somewhere around 35.5 cents. So if the shorts are protecting 35 cents very heavily, it's going to be a tough statistic to break, in my opinion. It doesn't mean that it can't happen, but I would keep a very close eye as to what's happening here as we trade our way up into the tip of this rising wedge if it wants to take it all the way out there. It could break to the upside, but we know what way statistically they generally break, so I want you to keep an eye on that. I do think we have a little bit of a volume gap once we get up there, which could push us to the upside and actually defy the odds and break it out, but I wouldn't put all of my faith in that. So keep a very close eye as to what we're doing there. As far as the RSI goes, I mean, they're still doing great. We're cooking, It didn't take as much of a breather as I would like to. Did we form some sort of little cup and handle today? Maybe. Just again, it's one of those, statistics. Here's your cup, here's your little handle, and it's pushing again. Generally, they can play out for you, but we can't put all of our thesis behind just a general pattern setup. What we can do is hope that it usually plays out the way that it does, but it doesn't mean it has to. So keep an eye as to what's going on here. Our 30-minute, our 1 hour, we still have a little bit of room to work our way to the upside. Our 4 hour on the Bollinger Bands is getting close. I mean, again, we're going to hit the top of that Bollinger Band around 35.5 to 36 cents. So it's either going to explode its way out of there or it's going to find a little bit of resistance. And to me, resistance would make sense if we're thinking 33 to 35 might be a little tough. It might be a protected area that might take several 2-3 times to try to even break out if it wants to break out from there. So keep your trading plan in mind. That's all I can say. As far as the ortex goes, they are estimating that a few shares were returned today. I don't know. I think a lot of shares actually probably piled in at that 34-cent range. We had a significant sell volume, but you know what? I'm not the only one that are looking at these numbers, and somebody else, with a whole lot more money on the line could have very well thought, hey, this is the target that I was looking for today, and they saw it and could have potentially sold off as well. So we're all kind of trying to figure out what targets, people are looking at, especially big money, what they want to see. So as far as live short interest goes, 12.1% of the free float, live short interest coming in at 179.91 million. Cost to borrow average did decrease today, which could make sense if some shares were returned. Then obviously there's a supply that comes back into rotation, which makes them not as hard to get their hands on. So the cost to borrow would come down. All a game of supply and demand. So we see it, but I mean, it's high, 206.03%. It's nothing to laugh at. I mean, you don't want to pay that for a year. So people may take some or they may not. Let's see. But I think we're approaching that area where some of the shorts might actually make their decision. We can kind of guess that they probably piled in around the 40 cents, and we don't know if they've played with their average or anything and how confident they still are. As we go into, does Mullen have earnings coming up? I haven't seen a date, but I'm not really looking forward to Mullen's earnings. And I'm not really looking forward to the vote either. I want to see us do all that we can before those dates ever come out. That's just me, but I mean, why would you look forward to Mullen's earnings, or why would you look forward to that vote? That's my question to you. I'm hopefully pessimistic. I mean, that's just my nature. I think I'm more of a realist, but I do always look at both sides of the situation. So in my eyes, I think I want to see us do what we can while we can before anything would actually come in from the outside fundamentally or whatever change up the game that's been going on for the last several days. I mean, it's been moving beautiful. So let's see if we can continue to carry on that movement as well. What is today, the 4th? So, I mean, we still have a couple of weeks, I think, before the vote comes out. Hopefully earnings gets pushed, beyond the vote. In my opinion, I would have no problem with them going ahead and pushing that off to a later date as well, unless it came out. I haven't checked any filings or anything today. I was running the last half of the day, and I apologize if something did come out, but keep an eye on your Bollinger Bands because, like I said, we are approaching an upper area of that. So if it wants to push to that 35, I could see a rejection coming back down on us, and take a couple of attempts to be able to break through. But 35 is also getting us back into our fib lines, so 35 cents. And then I think we could see 40 cents come again, 40 to 45 and a half, 45 and a half to 53. And 53, if everything's going beautiful, then 62 and a half. That's upside, but I want you guys to be focused on downside. If you're green, protect those accounts. Do what you have to do so that you can remain profitable in any trade that you get into. That's my goal. Is I just don't want you guys walking away from any of these trades red or burn too badly. You have a trading plan as you go into them, and you make sure that you're keeping an eye on that trading plan. And if you're profitable and if you're happy, then you're looking for ways to really reduce your risk or your exposure. Can you play with the house's money? What can you do? Can you reduce some of your holdings so that you're not so stressed out going into these next couple of weeks? Whereas, you take some of that money off the table that you're profitable on, then it doesn't hurt so bad if you lose 2 cents or 5 cents as you got house's money, or that you have profit from the trade that you're willing to risk as time goes on. But those are just a few things that I wanted to throw out there. You guys make your own decisions. As always, stay golden, people, and may your accounts stay green.